Median home prices here in the Treasure Valley are actually on the rise for October of 2022. But why is that? Why is that the case? Let's go ahead and let's dive in and figure out why in Mikey's monthly market updates for October of 2022, right after this. Well, welcome back after the quick little break there, everyone. Mike Petras here, your star realtor of Star and the Treasure Valley, back with another episode of Mikey's monthly market updates for October of 2022. Now, if you are new to this channel, this is going to go ahead and be a breakdown of what happened in the real estate market right here in the Treasure Valley for the month of October. So we're going to go ahead and break down and figure out why the median home values actually went up, considering that the market correction has actually been kind of taken everything down since it started in late May, early June. So let's go ahead and dive into that. But of course, if you have any further questions regarding any of this information, or you're looking to see some properties out here, or you want to know more information about the Treasure Valley in itself, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information can be seen right up here to the side. Of course, feel free to reach out via email or via phone like many other people do, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So let's go ahead and let's dive in and let's figure out what happened this month. So let's go ahead, let's dive into the data and see what happened in Ada County like we normally do. Now, I know these videos can be kind of lengthy, so I'm going to go ahead and break it up into chapters for you. So if you don't live in Ada County and say you live in Canyon County, feel free to go ahead and skip forward in this video and get the information that's relevant to you. But of course, I'm going to go ahead and break down like I normally do my final thoughts at the end of this video for buyer strategies, seller strategies, investors, and renters alike. So stick tuned towards the end of the video and figure out really how to be successful in this real estate market right here in the Treasure Valley. So let's go ahead, let's dive into the data and see what happened for Ada. So as we can see, the median home price here in Ada County actually did shoot up. Last month, it actually returned back down to full baseline that we had back in January, back down to $540,000 or $540,000 median. And we could see that it ticked up to $561,500. So we actually went up in Ada County this month by 3.98% since the first of the year and since last month when we hit back down baseline and reduced 11 and some change percent back down. But since the market correction, when we did hit 602,250, you can see that we've actually kind of came down, or we've actually came down since the market correction at 7.25%. So we did have that swing. But why? Let's go ahead and let's dive into that as we move forward here a little bit further. So, but looking at a 6-month breakdown of what happened here in the Treasure Valley, we could see, again, we hit that 540 mark back last month. But since last month, we have gone up 3.98% again. So we're on the rise. And if we take a look at the total inventory, this is really kind of why we are narrowing the gap again to the actual buyer's demand. But are there a lot of transactions really going on, and how hot is the buyer's demand here in the Treasure Valley? And really the answer to that question, which we've covered many of times, is that the buyer's demand is really kind of tapered off. And why? Because of high interest rates. And yes, I totally get it. I totally understand. High interest rates just mean more purchasing power that's taken away from you when you're actually trying to come out here, say to the Treasure Valley or anywhere else in the US, to go ahead and buy. But we can see that the inventory is starting to come down and narrow that gap. And that is really why the median home prices, in my opinion, have kind of started ticking up. Plus, we are also in a buyer's market, just to be honest. I've honestly felt that way for about the last couple of months. I know by definition, it's not. It's supposed to be at about a 6-month actual inventory, total inventory, to be considered in a buyer's market. But really, when sellers are starting to give concessions, etc., along the lines in order to be able to sell their home compared to, say, somebody else's home that's equivalent, that really kind of dictates to me that we are in a buyer's market. So buyers, keep that in mind. We are in a buyer's market, maybe not by definition, but sellers are out there giving concessions to be able to go ahead and sell their homes. But as we can see here, the gap has narrowed. We're down to actually 3.2 months of total inventory, according to this graph here in Ada County. And as we can see, if we're looking at the orange line in particular, though, which is the total pendings, we can see that the pendings are going down. So how many transactions are really happening here in the Treasure Valley? Not very many. And with the holiday season right around the corner, which is why the inventory is kind of swinging its way back down. Plus, that always generally happens when we go back to school as well. People just kind of jump out of the game. It's going to go ahead, it's going to narrow that gap, and it's going to bring that seasonal trend of the inventory going back the other direction. Looking at another slide here of just the total inventory that we have in Ada County, you can see that our inventory has hit levels that have surpassed even way back in 2019. So is there a lot of options for you buyers out there to be able to go and get the house of your dreams? The answer to that question is absolutely yes. So buyers, please keep that in mind. But let's quickly go ahead and let's take a look at the total inventory for existing homes out here in Ada County. And as you can see by this graph, we can see that the inventory is definitely been on its way back down, I think more or less because of seasonal shift. And you can actually see that over the months, really the buyer's demand has gone with it. So is it really just because a lot of people are out there wanting to sell their homes, or is that really the reason why the market correction came in? Or was it really because the buyer's demand cooled? Well, the answer to that question is the buyer's demand cooled. And why? Because interest rates were just on the rise, reducing purchasing power again for everyone, and really kind of discouraging buyers from going out there. Again, I get it. Interest rates are high, but the Fed is actually now starting to show signs that their monetary policy is actually starting to work. I did say that after the midterms, watch, these numbers will come in and they'll reflect something different. And guess what? They really kind of are. But until we see a month-to-month overall deal that the Fed's monetary policies by raising the federal funds rate is actually working to be able to soften the demand here in the United States, we can kind of still anticipate us to be on a roller coaster trying to figure out where the markets are going to go. So we'll just have to keep paying attention to the data, and please subscribe to this channel so that way you're in tune with that data and you can go ahead and make the best decisions for your possible relocation right here to the Treasure Valley, or maybe if you're looking to sell when things are right, looking to invest, etc. We'll get to that at the end. But again, this slide for the total existing inventory, we're sitting at 2.57 months of existing home inventory right here in Ada County. Looking at new construction, again, new construction according to this graph is sitting at 972 available homes and only 214 sold for the month of October. So really the total inventory for new construction is sitting at 4.54 months of inventory, which is actually great. So if you're looking for a brand new home, a lot of these builders right now, because they are trying to dump their existing homes, maybe retreat back to the pre-solds, etc., or even trying to get their pre-solds sold in their particular subdivisions, they are offering incentives. They're offering concessions for you to be able to purchase. So take advantage of those. And I know that the majority of the major home builders out here, and the smaller ones too, that are still building, are offering those concessions. So buyers, great thing happening with new construction here in the Treasure Valley. So as I've started to introduce into my videos, I kind of like to take a look at really kind of who has been the biggest loser in the market correction overall. Is it existing homes when it comes to the median home price, or is it new construction? So if we go ahead and take a look at this graph and we take a look at existing homes here in the Treasure Valley, we can see that we've had no change from last month at all, stayed at 500,000. But since the market correction, we've actually been down 14.78% in existing home inventory median home price here in Ada County. And actually, we've been down since the first of the year at 2.93%. Taking a look at new construction, we can actually see that new construction was actually on the way up this month. It definitely rose from the 650, 635 that we had last month up to 657, 500. So really, since the last month, we've been up 1%, basically 1.05, a little bit of in some change. And since the first of the year, the new construction here in Ada County has actually been up a whole whopping 11.6%. Now, I know that did come down a little bit since the last month, but it has ticked its way up. So really, and since the market correction has hit, actually the prices have been down from the 690 that it hit back in late May, early June, when the market correction kind of started. And you can see that it's actually down 4.71% since the market correction. So who is really the biggest loser in Ada County? Is it going to be new construction or existing homes? We could see clearly it's existing homes that have been taking the biggest hit since the market correction here in the Treasure Valley. Days on market have also been on the rise, which we can totally expect because buyers' demand has cooled. And on top of that, the seasonal shift is here, where people aren't really looking to buy, sell, invest, etc., because they really want to enjoy their holidays. And happy pre-Thanksgiving to everybody. I know it's coming up right around the corner, so I hope you have a great time with your families this holiday season. But we can see the days on market have been on the rise, sitting at 42 days. And during the holiday season, we can continue this. Expect this to continue to go up, but we're just gonna have to keep paying attention to the data and see what happens with the days on market, especially if the Fed can month over to month show that they are doing what they need to do in order to correct the demand that we just have here in the United States and be able to curb inflation. Looking at the cancels and expireds, we can actually see that the cancels are still kind of on the way up, maybe because, interest rates are high and unfortunately some buyers are being, kind of kicked out of this particular transaction, or sellers are generally getting cold feet, as I normally mentioned, but the expireds are also on the way up, as we can see. Some people are just really kind of holding on to that value, and sellers right now, it is still critical to really appropriately price your home so that you can be competitive against another home that is kind of equal to yours that may be better priced. So overall, just to recap what happened here in Ada County for the month of October of 2022, we can see that the median home price is sitting at $561,500. Total homes sold was 670, with the total inventory sitting at 2,146 homes for sale, which is up 87.4% year over year. And we could also see that the days on market are on the way up, and we can anticipate that to happen, especially next month as the data comes out for November, would be my guess, sitting at 42 days. All right, Canyon County, it is your turn for October of 2022. Let's go ahead and let's take a look and let's see what happened. And as you can see, the median home price again is on the rise here in Canyon County. In fact, actually, we hit a level of $434,814 for this month, which is still above the threshold that we had since January of 2022, when things were sitting at $424,900. So since the first of the year, Canyon County is still up 2.28%. Since last month, it's actually up 1.83%. But since the market correction, when we did hit that $476,500 back in May, we can see that we're still down 8.74%. But this month definitely got some relief when it comes to the median home price. And again, as it kind of went to Ada County, why is this really kind of doing what it's doing? Again, a supply and demand deal to where inventory is starting to tick its way down and close the gap between the buyer's demand, but the buyer's demand is still softening. Let's go ahead and get to that. But real quick, before we get to there, let's just take a look real quick at the 6-month projections that we had here in Canyon County. And again, as we can see from this graph, last month we were sitting at $426,990. And again, from August before, we could see it took that kind of pretty decent dip in Canyon County, but it has been on the way up, and we hit a median home price this month again of $434,814, which one more time is up 1.83% from last month. So taking a look at the total inventory in Canyon County, we can see that it is on the way down. It is kind of narrowing the gap, even though that gap is still there. And we can see that the total homes for sale for the month of October was sitting at 1253, and the total solds that we had was sitting at 371. Taking a look at the pending line again, we can see that the pendings have been going down steadily. So the amount of transactions that are really happening here in the Treasure Valley have definitely slowed without a doubt, hence really kind of resulting in our market correction. But we are sitting at a total inventory of 3.37 months for Canyon County for October of 2022. Taking a look at this different graph, again, we can see that the inventory levels have definitely superseded what we had in 2019. So the inventory is up here. So again, buyers, if you are looking for the home of your dreams, Canyon County is going to be another place just like Ada, where you're going to be able to have a lot of options to be able to choose from. Existing home inventory, again, you can see the curve is kind of working its way back down, kind of narrowing that gap a little bit. We can see that the total existing home inventory is sitting at 680. But if we are taking a look at that buyer's demand, again, we've only sold 225 homes in Canyon County for October of 2022. But that gap is kind of narrowing. Again, supply and demand as we're going through. Hence why I believe, okay, the median home prices have actually ticked up this month. But we're just going to have to continue to monitor the data and see what the Fed is capable of doing on a month over month to be able to curb inflation. Will that be able to change the markets back to normalcy, stabilization, etc., or maybe even back on the way up? We'll just have to see. New construction inventory, you can see actually kind of ticked up a little bit this month. So kind of more or less flatlined itself for Canyon County. And maybe we can anticipate that to roll through the holiday season. But if we're looking at the total inventory for new construction, it was sitting at 573 homes for sale. And the buyer's demand really, again, kind of tapering down. And only 146 homes of new construction actually sold for the month of October of 2022. So again, really, who is kind of the biggest loser? Is it existing homes or is it new construction since the market correction took hold in late May, early June? And if we're taking a look at this graph regarding existing homes, we could see since last month, the existing home values actually jumped up from the 381 to the 395, which is up 3.54%, and actually up 1.26% since the 390 that we had since the beginning of the year. So again, the median home prices in existing homes definitely went up, but since the peak of the market correction, or when the market correction started, peak home values, from May to June, we've actually been down 7.05% overall when it comes to existing home, median home prices in Canyon County. New construction, especially since the market correction took hold, has actually been down 10.79%, as you can see from this graph. But from last month, it actually ticked down a little bit. Not a whole lot to be able to make up any kind of a difference, really just 0.15% from the last month to this month. But since the first of the year, new construction has actually been up 5.04%. So new construction is kind of hanging on. But if you were to ask me which out of the two is really kind of the biggest loser, existing homes or new construction in Canyon County, this one is going to lie with new construction, unlike Ada County. So let's go ahead and let's take a look briefly at the days on market. Again, in Canyon County, they are on the way up. I anticipate that to continue to roll through the holiday season. And especially as the buyer's demand has cooled, we have seen it started ticking up. But we're sitting at 49 days for days on market for a home to sell out here in Canyon County. And then lastly, looking at the cancels and expireds. Of course, the cancels have been up. Again, as I mentioned with Ada County, it could be because the high interest rates maybe kind of kicked out some buyers from that general transaction, or maybe some of these sellers are getting cold feet. But according to this, we can see that the cancels are definitely on the way up. And then if we're also taking a look at the expires, they have also been up on the way up. So sellers, again, it's not a year and a half ago to where you could basically get whatever you're asking for. I know I'm being facetious, but you generally kind of could, because there was just such a high buyer's demand and no inventory out there. Those have definitely changed in times. So sellers, it is definitely critical for you to appropriately price your house, because there's a lot more competition out there than there was a year and a half ago. All right, and lastly, just to go ahead and recap for Canyon County, of course, the median home price was sitting at $434,814 for the month of October of 2022. With 371 homes total sold, which is down 33.4% year over year. So that's definitely showing that the buyers have definitely dropped out, of this market, or it's definitely cooled. The total inventory is at 12 of 53, which is up 68.2% year over year. And again, lastly, our days on market for the month of October in Canyon County is sitting at 49 days. All right, buyers. Well, is this really a bad time to buy? Of course, interest rates are high. We do know that. But the Fed, and the numbers that came out, especially on the CPI report, which came out about a week and a half ago, really looked positive. It looked like the Fed is actually in their monetary policy is taking hold to be able to kind of quelch the demand that we have here in the United States and be able to curb inflation. And when that actually happened, we actually saw one of the biggest drops in mortgage interest rates here in the US that we have seen in quite some time, all the way back until 2009, maybe even earlier. It dropped 0.6%. And if economic data keeps coming out like that, showing that the Fed's monetary policies are actually working to be able to curb the inflation, you can expect mortgage interest rates to keep diving down lower. So if we start seeing that month over month, buyers, this is something that you should be paying attention to, because buyers will start coming out of the woodworks, because housing, of course, is a necessity. They'll come out, they'll say, I'm going to start buying up this inventory, and then we could see the shift back over to a seller's market and to where you kind of more or less lose your power. So again, pay attention to what is happening in the markets, especially with the Fed. Watch these reports, or what you can go ahead and do is click on that little card above, and you can see my last video where I did discuss how this went ahead and dropped, and get my thoughts on this as to maybe when interest rates might start tickering down to the point to where buyers come out. Now, the Fed also does have their finger really on one kind of nuclear button, and that's really if they start selling off their treasuries and MBS, which they have $8 to $9 trillion worth of that in any kind of a record fashion. I don't see them doing that, of just dumping it straight off, but they did say that they've already started the runoff, and they did say in their last meeting that they anticipate to start to sell that off. So we'll just have to see what happens with mortgage interest rates. But as the economic data is showing that they're actually doing their job to be able to go ahead and fix the inflation problem, you can expect these markets to start returning to stabilization, if not start tickering up in terms of the price, the median home prices overall. And you really want to kind of get into that window to where you're still in that buyer's market, and you really have the negotiation power as to, say, the sellers. So speaking of interest rates, is really these high interest rates the end of the world? Again, I feel and I think that we have been in a buyer's market because a lot of these sellers are giving out concessions, unlike they were doing before. So what you can do is you can take those concessions and either A, you can go ahead and you can buy down your closing costs, or you pay them off, which helps you in the long run. And you just have to go ahead and kind of take the pain of the mortgage interest rates until they come back down and you're able to refinance. Or you can go ahead, which is another good option, and take that concession money and put it into a 2-1 buy down escrow account. And if you're not familiar with a 2-1 buy down, again, click on the card above. You can be able to go ahead and see my video on explaining that and how they work. So there's options for you still out here, even though the markets kind of seem to be crazy. So buyers, again, is this a good time to buy? Again, in my opinion, it is. And if you are looking to maybe see some properties out here, or you like to know about particular communities, cities, etc., feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to represent you, and more than happy to get you the information that you're looking for. So please feel free to reach out. All right, sellers, are things returning back to, say, a normalcy or a stabilization, etc.? Maybe, but again, we're just going to have to keep watching the Fed data, and if their monetary policies to combat inflation are working month over month. So please subscribe to this channel. I always do come up with videos to kind of keep you in tune with all of that. But I really kind of expect maybe the market correction to possibly continue. Again, we're just kind of coming into slow season, and that's why these median home prices, I think, have actually kind of ticked up. Again, buyers, same thing as that gap comes. Again, it's a supply and demand issue. But sellers, again, it's just very critical to properly, appropriately price your home in this particular market. Maybe you might even want to start considering some concessions to be able to get buyers to come in and want to, say, buy your home, say, to a comparable one in the same city or elsewhere. That could be maybe same price or a little bit cheaper than your home. So again, the competition is still there for you sellers, and really it's all about having the right keys and knowing how to appropriately price your home and all the strategies to be able to go out there and sell your home effectively in this market. And I definitely have those tools to be able to share with you. So please feel free to reach out to me. Would love to set up an appointment with you to where I can go ahead and discuss my strategies to be able to get you the most for your house in this particular market and be able to sell it in the quickest amount of time. So sellers, I look forward to hearing from you. Investors, yeah, have prices come down? Absolutely, they have in both Ada and Canyon counties because of this market correction. Are we going to be starting to see stabilization? Again, that really depends on the Fed and if they're able to have a month-over-month signs showing that their monetary policy is actually working to combat inflation. But of course, investors, as you know, if you are coming out here, the more money that you do kind of throw down on that particular home, if you do need a loan, is going to get you a better capitalization rate. But if you are looking to come out here and say buy in cash, of course, cash is king, and you can get your maximum value or your maximum capitalization rate. If you're in the flip game, again, there's more inventory out there for you to be able to go and find. So perhaps, you're going to make some good money out here, considering where the market is right now. But if things start to turn the corner and the buyers start jumping in again, you will be able to see that kind of narrow down. So flippers, this might actually be a really good time for you. But if you'd like to know more about capitalization rates or these particular cities, etc., investment properties, all of that, more than happy to go through all of it with you. So investors, I look forward to hearing from you as well. And then lastly, renters. Of course, I say this every single time. Renters, you are paying a 100% interest because you're not getting really the equity that's coming out of that home. Is now a good time to start preparing yourself if you're thinking about making a home purchase coming up? Absolutely. Reach out to your preferred, or I actually have preferred mortgage lenders for you that you can go ahead and speak to and start building that foundation today to be able to put yourself in a great position to be able to buy when things start kind of ironing themselves out. Now, are they starting to show maybe that they're ironing themselves out or returning to stabilization, or maybe that the buyers might start jumping in as early as maybe late quarter one or early quarter two of next year? Very well could be. Again, we'll just have to see if the Fed can do month-over-month stabilization when it comes, or month-over-month corrections to inflation. So we'll just have to pay attention to that. But renters, if you're thinking about purchasing, please feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to discuss that with you. Also, when the Fed, I just want to let you renters know this, when the Fed actually starts to kind of taming this inflation, you can expect rental prices to start kind of ticking down with it. So that is also a good thing if you do want to stay in a rental and are not in any position to buy. But if you are, please feel free to reach out to me. Let's go ahead. Let's get you to talking to a mortgage professional today to start laying out the foundation for your future or home purchase today. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you did find the information useful. And of course, if you have any questions about this information, feel free to reach out to me. I am more than happy to discuss this information with you, give you my thoughts and predictions on where I think things are going to end up here in the very, very near future, or maybe even a little bit further out, but I see it kind of coming in a little bit more earlier than usual to where these markets start, correcting themselves and stabilizing. And you can see, buyers and everybody kind of returning to a happy medium with what's going on in these markets. But feel free to also comment below. I'm very responsive to the comments. I'm more than happy to go ahead and answer any questions that you have there as well. Or if you have any additional thoughts, comment below. Would love to hear your thoughts about what do you think is going to happen in this market coming up. But of course, feel free to reach out to me if you're looking to relocate, buy, sell, invest in real estate right here in the Treasure Valley. I can be reached at area code 208-715-STAR. Again, that's 208-715-7827. And if you're looking to begin your home shopping experience today, please feel free to visit my website at www.yourstarrealtor.com. Also, if you're looking to relocate right here to the Treasure Valleys from out of state, please click in the description below, download my free relocation guide, so that way you're in the know before you decide to make the move. Also, lastly, please click that subscribe button below, hit the notification bell so that you're constantly in tune with all the videos that I do come up with. And I really look forward to that day that we speak. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless. I look forward to calling you my neighbor. Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.